down. I think you split the difference here. Put yourself in the best position to go either way. Sometimes that might not result in a win. You don't necessarily need wins here in the group stages. You need points, you need consistency, you need to just be up there and in that discussion. Sometimes you should take the top 5s, take the top 3s if they're presented to you. You don't always have to go for broke and bank on that victory, because if it doesn't pay off, if it doesn't pull that way, suddenly you find yourself in a 10th place with 0 kills and 1 placement, 2 placement points.
Well, nothing says quick rotation quite like an RE45 car loadout. No attachments. As we can see on your screen right now, this is all about position. We'll wait for everybody else to fall over before we'll let Alta and her passive do the work on grabbing some extra utility from some death boxes. A lot of teams already in the vicinity of Countdown. TIE, Reject, PXX, Trinity that we just saw on our screens. For Fun Esports and GK now making their way up as well. Zeta Division leaving from Trials as well on that northern side. And a quick rotate coming in that you can see from GK. And of course, passing through onto a ring console is going to give them the information they desire.
So interestingly, we have 17 Watsons and 17 Seers, but I believe there were more Seers in match 1, so we will still get that Seer ban here in match 2. There's going to be a lot of pylons, a lot of gens that are going to be dropped down. It's going to be difficult to try and take some of these positions that have been already collected in Countdown, that's for sure.
GG are taking their time. They know they've got a long, long way to go. And with Sentinels and Nemesis actually pretty close to them, as we can see, Sentinels just retreating a little bit here. The journey for them going to be very, very different in this game to what it was previously. It's about getting those Evos, finding those Harvesters, getting that information. I'm probably playing this one a little bit later on, especially with Valkyrie in the composition here, interestingly, for Sentinels. They'll be able to play this one slow, tiptoe their way in, and then look to Valcult late. JDG, floating has gone down as Elite Esports find their first point of the game. That's a slight worry again for JDG.
Yeah, we have 4 Valkyries in the lobby, actually, so there are going to be a few teams that are trying to full send it towards the latter stages. It really does give you that get-out-of-jail-free card, it feels like. But sometimes you might lack in other areas, whether it be defensively, for example, or offensively, depending on what your composition is and who Valkyrie is replacing in your comp as well. There's different varieties of it. You've got Sentinels who are running Seer alongside the Valkyrie and the Watson, or you can look at Kinotrope who are running that baby comp of Gibby, Newcastle and Valkyrie, which is more of the tried, tested and true.
Well, it looked like there was a little bit of a battle for the survey beacon at Grandma's house. So AG have decided, you know what, we can just go to survey camp and hit the beacon instead. So that's exactly what they are going to do. If you're wondering where Alliance are at the moment, they're moving through Epicenter towards the Evo Harvester that is available. They're on our screens right now. 1 point from game 1. And not a lot yesterday, Dan. It needs to start happening soon for this trio.
I was playing with a friend the other month and they were calling it Epic Center. And it just really reminded me of when I once said Barrow Meet. And it's just one of those that...
That was a tough moment for me as well.
When you say it quickly, it was just a polite, you know it's Epicenter, right? And they were like, oh yeah, sure.
This sounded very English of you.
I tried to.
I was going to say, Cass has got nothing but the head of Cinetic to aim for there, but still somehow found the shoulder. 60 with that longbow.
So interesting, you were talking about, relying on what had happened in previous pulls. VKG relying on potentially a counter pull here in it, coming southeast and coming back down towards Landslide, towards the area where it did close out near on the previous series. So maybe they'll be rewarded with it, but there is also the ring console near to them that GK are currently hovering around in Landslide.
I think they're waiting for third beacon here, GK. They're not going to quick rotate in here. They're just taking their time. And I think that Drops probably is one of these astute players who recognizes that zone pull from earlier and wants to get that information before they make their decision on where they want to play. Zeddy have a little bit of a scrap themselves at the moment in the kill feed. You can see that Arufa has gone down as well for RC. Jelly's going to grab that Evo Harvester because he's got to be careful here. He fragged out yesterday, but he's got to be careful that he gets back to his teammates. The Void Nexus will allow him to do so.
Back home, safe, sound. There's a pot of soup on for them as well at Grandma's house. I always wondered
It's the arms of Duplex.
Always kind of wondered what kind of food would be in Grandma's house. I think chicken soup.
Chicken soup?
Yeah. Well, we're going to get a lot more info on this zone, and this also, if you've got to think about this on the minds of GK, for example, who are going to be able to hit that third ring console.
Okay.
That's
Very interesting. GK may have just pulled a blinder here by just sitting at Landslide and waiting for that next ring console to be available. Now, Relove are moving through the tunnel, so there's one thing to have the plan. With VK Gaming right next to them and Relove next to them as well, it's going to be difficult to actually hit this, potentially without taking damage and going down. So GK's plan is one thing. Can they execute is the other?
I think they did get it. Looking on the arrows on the screen, it looks like there was a stationary one for quite some time, and if they do have that information, they might just leave, but at the moment they're going to be somewhat pressured by Relove, but it looks like no, there you go. Elsewhere, they're going to get out. Now we check in with Elite. They're going to be arriving from the south. So actually, it's going to be similar timing here for Elite arriving and GK leaving. They're going to see GK crossing, and this could be a dangerous cross indeed.
Oh, just couldn't quite connect with the final shots to get the knock. GK, though, in a little bit of a precarious situation here. Walking on ice towards the spot where they want to play. They're trying desperately to get into the RV. And I think they've all somehow managed to make that cross and just about get safe.
Makes me so happy you're calling it an RV now, as well as Elite also seeing our previous winners, GG, start to arrive to the party. So these are all the teams that got third ring console information, by the way, as Light just can't quite connect with those final bullets. Blast just giving him a little bit of the wiggles in the air.
I was going to say, Blast is probably thinking he connected with enough, because he wasn't missing too many with that hemlock in his hand.
He's a nimble fellow, is Blast.
Really
have you seen him on the dance floor?
Can't say I have.
Neither have I, but I imagine he is pretty nimble.
The man can move.
Rival over there.
Maybe we'll get confirmation a little bit later in the week in
I
Paris.
did see him as a mime, so if that's anything they'd go by.
I'm not sure those two things align, but Esports are going to press a GK continually inside of this RV. You've made me question that now, by the way. I want to call it Caravan again.
I tell you what, if GG keep playing this way, we might see him on the dance floor in Paris by the end of it. But they have been able to surpass the likes of GK and Elite and put themselves into a very powerful position. Now, Kinatrope approaching what looks like AG, but AG are going to back off after they'd initially set that portal on their scouting mission. And they've realized it's not going to be an easy journey. Zeta Division going to be watching from the west, Alliance now approaching from the east. And Kinatrope are setting up shop here with this Newcastle wall.
Yeah, much different pace this game to the previous one. Think about the fact that we had 3 teams alive. Zone 5 hadn't even closed yet. This one, we've got 20 teams alive. Every single player in the lobby is still on their feet. The respawns, we've had a few of them, but everyone is alive and healthy for now. As Kinatrope are quite happy with the position that they have right now. Like you say, correctly, bunkered down. PXX still, we saw them earlier, inside of Countdown, and it's almost as if now, I'm not sure if it's going to go towards Countdown or pull down to the south. There is a team on the western side of Zone that I'm very interested in, though. That's going to be Ninjas in Pajamas. They've got a Mythic spawning next to them, and their back is clear.
Well, Sen, one of our Valkyrie teams, have been able to full send themselves in and try and find somewhere to call home, but they are under pressure. RC probably don't want to allow them to reside here. And actually, one of the members of RC has gone down. They've got a portal to go back up, but they are trying to bully Sentinels away from this position. And it is going to be a fight in the moment, but you don't want to draw too much attention to yourselves here.
Yeah, Sentinel just smartly playing around the interceptor pylon here, just making sure they're playing around the gen. So any damage they take, they're going to get those shields back nice and quickly, and they're going to be able to re-engage. Now, big moments for Alliance, and Aku is down, Unlucky is down. And Sacred and Skittlecakes are in a 1v2 now with Hackis. The shields are already broken. Skittlecakes wants to hunt him down, but Nemesis have fallen! And somehow Hackis, combined with Zeddy Esports, stays alive.
Hackis has been given a lifeline, but now can you get away?
Oh,
no,
he's down.
You cannot. It looked like Alliance had pulled off a masterclass, but in the end, it was Zeddy who had done the majority of the work, and sadly for Alliance, it doesn't really matter in the end because they go 2. As Sentinels, who had previously pushed themselves in, are probably going to be pretty happy with where that zone has moved, as we'll check in with that in a little bit, because the kill feed at the moment is starting to light up. AG and Kinatrope finally getting to an engagement, and Kinatrope go down.
AG looking at the skies here. It's going to be Zeta Division who are over the top of them. Going all the way from the top of Trials now in towards Lava Fissure. There is some very interesting news when it comes to where that zone is going to be going, by the way. Just to give you an indication, where the teams are at the moment, they are completely spread across where this zone is going. No one seems to be sure if it's going to the south or if it's going to the north. We'll let the zone close before you can see it, but boy, we can see it on our screen right now, and it's a very, very interesting pull.
Going to be a frustrating one for Sub. As JDG Still 0 points at the moment, but if they get going, can certainly be a team to cause a little bit of disruption here. But they're approaching from the south at the moment, and they are surrounded. There isn't really a safe avenue anywhere. As Sentinels are still holding this position, RRQ just suddenly showed up, and they've been able to take down the first.
Sentinels in a very, very good spot. Blinks up alongside Monsoon, combining to get that knock. And that's just going to take the pressure off them a little bit here. Blix is actually getting a little bit interesting here. He's trying to create a little bit of nonsense up on that high ground, get involved with the fight that's going down between RC and RRQ, and RRQ will be eliminated. This is a little bit of a replay from what we saw earlier as Alliance went down. This is AG Global, and Jalannya hitting some nice shots with that longbow onto a Valkyl and deleting the rest of Kiddertrope.
What goes up must come down, and sadly Gibby falls a little bit harder. As now for fun, they're starting to approach here, but RC have been able to hold this building for quite some time. I said at the start I would like to bank on a countdown area. I'm not saying I was right, but certainly they look more comfortable than some of the other teams here.
Yeah, map overhead's going to show you what we're talking about in a few moments' time as well, as we see Zeddy now down, essentially playing a mirrored spot to what we can see from Sentinels on the other side. There is that zone. It has hard pulled all the way back into countdown. And look at the map overhead. No one was sure. Nobody wanted to gamble on where that zone was going. And with the hard pull back into countdown, no, there is 0 teams inside of where this game is going to be ending.
Yeah, maybe Trinity, ones who can somewhat capitalize in the building they find themselves in just on that northern tip, but that's about it. Everyone else is going to have to fight tooth and nail to get back into countdown, especially all of these southern teams who, as you quite rightly pointed out, may be influenced by the game we saw earlier, hesitating a little bit from the zone they had seen previously.
Also probably thinking that when they saw the zone pop, that there was more on the south side and there was going to be more space. It was definitely going to pull that way. Instead, it is hard countdown. And Elite now are going to have to fight their way in towards this zone. VKG are going to do it the aerial route. They're trying to find somewhere inside of countdown to play right now. As they land down on that low ground, they're taking a little bit of damage. But most importantly for them, before the Newcastle gets CQ'd, gets that wall down.
Yeah, there is going to be pressure applied, but they should be okay for now because you can't really overcommit to trying to take down VKG. Speaking of committing, RC again still trying to take down some of these teams that were below them. Sentinels have been able to reposition slightly to get a more central position as well.
PXX just been eliminated in the meantime. 5 squads out of the lobby in this game number 2 here on World's Edge. Ninjas in Pajamas take a little bit of an engagement by the looks of things as well with Zeta Division. As VKG rub shoulders with a couple of teams around them. Elite now having to fight their way in. They're just outside of the zone in 25 seconds until they're forced to move here. Kinda is down, the Seer is down, and now they are getting queued into oblivion. The focus of attention, not just the name of the ability, but certainly what everyone in the lobby seems to be doing with them.
Some of these blind void passages as well, they're risky. Henchman on his own does have the shields to work with and play around. Luckily there has been knocks elsewhere they can certainly capitalize on, and does.
Can he survive though? That's the question. Can he get light back to his feet? It's an opportunity for a Deathbox res, but Zeta Division just been eliminated in the meantime as well. Edgeman's going to have to do it all himself, but Elite Esports will go down as Noct will now be the remaining player alive for GK. He's just fallen as well. So teams falling like Skittles as 11 squads now find themselves in the lobby. Relove will be the most recent to fall.
I feel like Henchman left his head out a little bit too long there. Maybe he wasn't expecting the sniper on the other side. Is now GG just on this southwestern side. This is actually a very similar fight to what we saw earlier, GG versus JD Gaming, but now Trinity are involved in the equation, which changes things completely. Deeds is very low, but is able to get back into the room and potentially gets healthy.
Vayne staying alive as the solo here. You just saw AG taking a big fight with Zeddy Esports, by the way. Jalannya combining with Jaguares to hit some really, really good shots. Pretty sure this is a 2v2 down the bottom of this tunnel as we switch back over now to the POV of GG. JDG down to 2. Trinity just been eliminated in the meantime as Jen's dad pops up on our screen and gives a little up heart.
It's not a LAN without Jen Burton's father, let's be completely honest. Great to have him here. Is GG are looking the real deal, I have to say. I have to call it, Mark. At the moment, with the way they're playing with such confidence, they do not fear anyone, as Ninjas in Pajamas sadly get eliminated from the lobby. Again, it's an okay game, but it's nothing special from one of the best performing teams in the Americas, if not the best performing in Americas in Split 1.
Well, RC have been in this spot for essentially the entirety of the game, but now they have to make the move. Luckily for them, Wraith is in the composition. Blinks up. trying to scout the next move for Sentinels as well, which is a little bit more difficult because they do not have that ability to use the Wraith portal. Arufa just trying to dance. Sentinels are going to have to try and fight this one with the gen going down. It's going to be very difficult now for Sentinels to survive this. Blixer tries to send it. Arufa says no. Monsoon's going to be next playing behind the knockdown, and Fun has to try and escape.
Not going to be able to, I'm afraid, as finally this fight comes to a conclusion. They've been posturing up against each other for what feels like 20 minutes at this point, as JD Gaming also will be confirmed as eliminated as well. Down to 6 now, and there is not much place to play down here in the middle.
Big fight happening between VKG down in this low ground and TIE. VKG will win it. With the mobile shield going down, Yanya's coming in for a kidnap, but does not come up with anybody.
This is going to be a very entertaining final circle, by the way. It's pretty much finishing dead center down in the low ground.
VKG are in trouble.
As VKG are just getting surrounded, they will be taken out. 4 teams now remain. Zeddy, AG Global, GG, and Reject. And there is a Kraber in play.
Well, a few more teams alive than what we saw in the previous game. As everybody takes a second to breathe. GG have a chance to go back-to-back here, by the way. A game 1 win for them. 30 points on the board already for this trio. And as one of the last 4, would love to make it a few more. Luca has to pop the battery here before he makes the call on what the next play is.
Honestly, if they are able to play this way throughout this series, we might already be talking about a team getting to finals already. Similarly to Liquid, with the amount of points they've been able to put on at this point. As the zone now is going to start to force these teams into each other, and actually, Zeddy, sadly, are going to be very much bombarded here by AG.
But Jelly turns it around. Yanya gets aggressive, knew the damage was there. But everybody focused those weapons onto the Wraith and managed to put him on his back. That's going to allow Zeddy to get the armor swaps, get healthy again, and all of a sudden AG are now on the back foot.
All the meanwhile, Reject have taken space. Look at the amount of room Reject have now. They've put that Newcastle wall down as well.
Look at GG though, they're swinging around. They are collapsing as Zeddy Esports will be eliminated. And with an L-Star in the hands of Zane, he's thinking one thing. KP, take down RC, take down AG, and let's make this back-to-back.
Well, can they do the same thing they did previously? Wait for the other 2 teams to fight and then capitalize on their rotation. You mentioned it. They're just moving perfectly in the moment.
A well-oiled machine here as Zane now steps down with that L-Star. Continuing pressurizing RC down on this low ground. But where are AG here? They have got the reset, and Yanya now peeking as GG have to move. The swing comes in from RC. GG are gone, and it's AG versus RC.
GG just got sandwiched here. AG need a reset. There are potential shield swaps available on the map.
Neazul gets the reload here, but Arufa gets the first pick. Neazul is the last victim. Reject will be the champions of game 2.